The first time I saw it, I got goosebumps. It was perfect for me. I felt like we could go anywhere together. There's nothing like finding your match on Cars.com. With over 50,000 cars added daily and a powerful advanced search, you're sure to discover the one.
It's magical.
Find your perfect match on Cars.com today.
This episode is brought to you by Circle. What is Circle? First of all, it's a beautiful shape. It's consistent, inclusive, but it's also a place to build USDC, a digital dollar that's actually dollar-backed one-to-one. At Circle, they're building a future where money will travel at the speed of the internet for fractions of a penny. It's the place where crypto meets stability, where local businesses meet global customers, and the US dollar meets USDC. Visit circle.com/Spotify.
On this episode of Narcissist Apocalypse Q&A, we discuss the different types of technology abuse and the safety measures you should take. Welcome to Narcissist Apocalypse Q&A, everyone. I am Brandon Chadwick, and today we are going to talk about technology and abuse. But before we get to that, if you want to be a guest on our Survivor Story episodes, please do go to our website at narcissistapocalypse.com. Top of the page, there's a button that says guest form. When you click on that button, it takes you to our guest form page. There, you can read all of our instructions and either send us an email at narcissistapocalypse@gmail.com or fill out our guest form and press the submit button. And please do read all of our instructions and send it in the format that we ask for. And today we are going to talk about technology and abuse. And I think the most predominant type of technology abuse that we hear on the show comes through the phone. And when it comes to controlling behavior, the most dominant one we hear is when someone is asking you to text them all the time, asking you to check in all the time, saying that they're doing it maybe for your safety, or that they're constantly texting you because they're so in love with you, and really kind of keeping you in check and in constant communication with them. That is the most predominant one we hear on the show. And then other times on the show, we do hear about tracking devices as well. And we also hear about people who are having their computers broken into. Those, I guess, are the top three types of technology abuses that we hear. And we'll get to those more in depth. So when it comes to abuse and technology, abusers often misuse technology as a way to control you, monitor you, and harass their victims. And they can do it with cyber stalking. Unwanted sexting is a way to misuse technology. Surveillance, sending you nude images, sexual images, impersonating you or impersonating other people as well online. Online harassment. There's a lot of different ways that people can or abusers can misuse technology to continue their abuse of you. And a big one is cyber surveillance. So cyber surveillance is when a person uses a smart or connected device, and an abuser could access your computer, your phone, your tablet. They can hack into your devices, and then they may use these devices to control you, harm you, monitor you, harass you, threaten you. And, a lot of devices we have in homes now, such as thermostats that can be controlled, smart electrical outlets, so the lights that are in your home that might be plugged into these things as well, entertainment systems, your stereo, your TV, security cameras, motion detectors, smoke detectors are also now controlled by these things, video doorbells, things like the Ring. smart locks, appliances. Appliances are now connected to these things, vacuums, refrigerators. There's nanny cameras. And now a lot of people who have pets, they have pet feeders, pet cameras, pet toys, things like that. And also children's toys also have cameras in these things and are able to be manipulated as well. And because these things can be turned on and off remotely and that they can be activated in many different ways, the pictures can be taken of you. Logs of your activity can really be created. So this person might be able to text you and really just say, like, I know you were here at this time. Why is your car parked at the mall right now? They can eavesdrop on you at the same time, because some of these devices do have a listening capability, and they can just gain access to so many ways. Like if you're at home and all of a sudden your lights are flickering and they're connected to these things, it's a real big sign that someone has your passwords, an abuser has your passwords, and that they're taking advantage of this. Sometimes they might turn the heat up and turn it down. A lot of these things. And then when it comes to things like the Ring, which is there to protect you, but sometimes if it's in the wrong hands, then that person's going to get notifications for whoever is showing up within the motion sensors of that, and they can see who's coming and going, and they'll be able to really get a stronghold of kind of what's going on in your life and continue that harassment by really keeping you in this. It's a prison in a lot of ways, because they're just monitoring your every move, and they're able to also create reactions out of you, either by telling you what's going on and what they see, or by these little things that they're not here, but they are here, by flicking things on and off and really causing fear. That's a very scary thing to happen. So these are some of the things when it comes to the cyber surveillance. So when it comes to how do you protect yourself when it comes to a lot of these connected devices, it can really be helpful to know exactly how all of your devices are connected to each other, what information is available remotely, what are the security and privacy features of all of the technology that you have. So if a device begins operating in a way that you know that you are not controlling it, so you just might want to start disconnecting that device or remove it from the network to really stop the activity. And you'll be able to learn more about how to disconnect or remove a device by just reading like the manual or speaking to like a customer service representative from each one of these devices to keep you safer. But a lot of the times, these devices are starting off with password protection. Somehow a password has been given up to them to get access through your computer or through your phone to really have access to a lot of these things. So being able to protect, right off the bat, your computer, your phone, all of your passwords to begin with, where that foundation has been laid, is very helpful. A lot of the work when it comes to this is really legwork by the abuser to get those passwords offline. And if you do start to notice that these weird things are happening, just like how you create a journal or a log about gaslighting behaviors, start doing that with the technology. If you start to notice that things are acting strange, start logging these things, start showing these little patterns that are going on when these things are happening, because a lot of times they know when you're home, and they know when to flick things on and off. So just keeping a logged pattern of these things and keeping this stuff in a journal when these things start to happen will be helpful for you to realize that something really is going on, that you are not crazy. And if you do end up going to court, because this could be a lot of post-separation abuse stuff, this could be stuff that's going on within your relationship at the time. If you ever have to go to court for harassment or for stalking or during your divorce or any sort of process when it comes to the legal matter, having a log of this is very, very, very helpful when it comes to court.
This episode is brought to you by Circle. What is Circle? First of all, it's a beautiful shape. It's consistent, inclusive, but it's also a place to build USDC, a digital dollar that's actually dollar-backed one-to-one. At Circle, they're building a future where money will travel at the speed of the internet for fractions of a penny. It's the place where crypto meets stability, where local businesses meet global customers, and the US dollar meets USDC. Visit circle.com/Spotify.
Another way that an abuser can abuse you through technology is with photos and videos, non-consensual sharing of these things, which, quote unquote, is called revenge porn. And an abuser could use these images in a way to gain power and control over you, or just to keep power and control over you. So they can just share these images as a way to scare, harass you, or even blackmail you into doing what you, or to doing what they want you to do. And these are actions of a pattern of domestic abuse. And we've heard this type of story on our podcast before. So another misuse of technology is cyberstalking. And cyberstalking is the use of technology to stalk or harass someone. And a stalker may contact you by email, social media sites, messaging apps, and just all other online spaces, websites as well. And then there is online harassment that can occur, and abusers do this to make you feel unsafe. They do it to humiliate you. They do it to scare you, and they do it to cause emotional distress. And the difference between cyber stalking and online harassment would be that cyber stalking is meant to harass you, but to make you feel scared and to make you feel that your life or your body might be, or your loved ones might be in immediate physical danger, and that the abuser knows that their actions would make you feel that way. And online harassment is more of a broad abusive behavior, incidents, harassing issues that do not cause you to feel like your life or your body or someone that you know is in immediate danger. Subcategories of cyberstalking or online harassment would be threats. So some examples would be death threats, physical harm, sexual assault, kidnapping. Threats can also include a threat to commit suicide. And online threats don't always have to really include words. So if someone posts a picture online, maybe it's on Instagram or Facebook, or if they do a video on TikTok, something like that. And if this abuser is holding a weapon, a gun, a knife, that is considered a threat. And no words have to be said for that to happen. We know what is implied and what is going on. And another one of the subcategories is doxing. And doxing is when someone searches for and publishes your private identifying information online in an effort to scare you. Information they post could be your name, your address, your phone number, email address, photos, finances, your family members' names. And doxing is just scary. It's a boundary push. It's, letting the outside world know who you are, where you are, that they know where you are. Just publishing that information is a real violation. And, everyone has the right to their own privacy online in the world. And just doing so is a threat in a lot of ways that something might happen to you, or if they're also in this big smear campaign against you, and we've seen this many times online when it comes to doxing, if they can create this group of flying monkeys, this group of people behind them to believe what they are saying, then doxing becomes even scarier because they have all these other people that they have influence over that could do something once that is posted. So that's a very, very scary thing, which is doxing. And cyberbullying is also a big issue, and that could just be really, no matter where you are posting online, they could be on your posts. They could be saying nasty things about you, hurtful things about you. They could be saying threatening things about you while on there. Very, very negative things. They could be on your posts or anywhere around the internet where anyone will listen to them. And it's just a continuous way for them to bully you and really drag your name through the mud. And it is very concerning. And it is scary. It's very hurtful. And if they start posting rumors about you that aren't true, and you're, on Facebook and everyone is watching these things, that is a really big problem. Again, you can bring in other people here, flying monkeys, where they start to believe these things possibly about you as well. And it's really just done to really tarnish your name and create fear and create, like a power and control over you. Another one on our list is recording. And we've heard this a lot of times on the show before when it comes to recorded conversations. And it's a way to maintain power and control over you. A lot of times you will be baited into situations to react, or you're defending yourself, and that's when the recorder will be turned on. And this can be an audio recording, this can be a video recording, and then this can be seen as proof of who you are, when that is not the truth. Not every recording or video or even a picture is telling you the full truth in so many different ways. And using this type of technology, they might try to use that in court. If you go back all the way to our Miriam episode from 2019, and Miriam was recorded. The person that she was with, the abuser, that person got her to a certain point where she reacted and defended herself, and eventually Miriam ended up in jail. And eventually Miriam did get her life back, and Miriam was able to get her children back and get everything straightened out. But that became a big problem. And now with today's day and age, where people can really sway other people's the public opinion of flying monkeys and whoever, they can start posting these recordings, and they can start posting these video recordings and everything, and these pictures, and put them online, and being able to paint a different picture than what actually has really transpired. So this is also a big way that technology can be used for abuse. Up next on our list, and we've already really talked about it, is electronic surveillance. And electronic surveillance can be, knowing your passwords for your phone and computer, and seeing your conversations, seeing what's going on, and then also using those passwords to get access to your computer and really monitor cameras, social media, email, anything that can be connected to those devices where they can spy on you. And also, if they do have access to your computer or your phone, you might have spyware on your computer that might have been put on, which then can give them remote access after, and being able to really watch what you're doing, including taking passwords for a lot of different things. It's possible. So if you are suspecting that spyware could be on your computer, and you don't know the interworkings of your computer and how to find what programs might be running in the background while your computer is on or your phone is on, take your phone to a professional, or take your computer to a professional to really look over your phone and your computer to see if something has been installed on there. I just started thinking of spyware, and something that just popped into my head was the movie The Invisible Man, which came out in the last few years. I don't know if anyone has seen it, but there was a situation in this movie where a fight was started with the protagonist's sister, and that's because the protagonist's abuser sent an email from her actual email address. So the abuser was able to get access to this address and this email, and they were able to say all these nasty things to the sister, and then it just becomes this whole mess, and it became isolating. It was used as an isolation tactic when that was happening, and these isolation type of things can happen when someone can get a hold of your your email. They can get a hold of your phone messaging and can create separation between you. And also, an abuser might be able to send messages from your device to their email to make it look like you might have been the one harassing them or saying something terrible to them. And this can also possibly happen like on Instagram and Facebook as well. So it's really important to really be on top of protecting your passwords and to change your passwords as often as possible and pay attention to emails that you might be getting that someone might be trying to log into your devices. Always use two-factor authentication on everything. And if need be, and if you can afford things, if you do suspect these things are going on, to change your devices if you can. And always remember to log and keep track of everything if you suspect anything out of the ordinary is happening. Narcissist Apocalypse is sponsored by BetterHelp. Last year, I realized that I had a lot of work to do when it came to my codependency issues, and I really did have a lot of work to do. It was difficult to come to terms with, but at the same time, I knew I would actually be a better person for doing the work. And thankfully, I worked with my BetterHelp therapist to get back to the root of my issues so I could just start working on these things every day, because my codependency stuff, I have to work on it every single day. And having the support from my therapist was just so helpful, and I'm doing so much better because of it. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, I really just can't recommend therapy enough. So just give BetterHelp a try. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/nap today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/nap. So when it comes to social media is got so many different things going on when it comes to technology abuse. Obviously someone can go on there and start harassing you on all of your posts. Someone can go onto social media and start saying what they want to that are lies about you on social media to get people in their favor, to embarrass you, all of those things. Then there's also stalking that can go on, the monitoring of where you are, who you are. People can create fake accounts, impersonation, and that's goes two ways. It's impersonating you and then also impersonating someone else. So it is possible that they are impersonating you and maybe creating fake accounts that are you, and that those things might be doing some embarrassing things. Those accounts might be doing something where they're impersonating you and they're doing bad things to start giving you a bad reputation. That's one way that they can do impersonation of you online. And then also when it comes to impersonation, they might be impersonating someone else. They might create a different persona online, and they might try to become friends with you that you don't know, because some people do have online friends that they create in these worlds. And then they might also try and become friends with your family members, and your family members have no idea that that is them, and they might be trying to get more information about you that way or harass you in that kind of way. And that so that is something that does go on. It is something that you should really be aware of, and to just try and keep your interactions online as safe as possible. You can't control what your friends and family do and what information they might be giving, but it is something that you should be aware of that does happen. And then one of the last things I want to discuss as far as technology goes is trackers, and trackers are becoming a really big problem. And obviously a lot of these things, like the technologies that we are talking about, can be used for good, but they're also being used for evil purposes. And when it comes to things like Apple's AirTags, which are now catching a little bit of flack, these things were meant to actually help you track your things. But these are easy devices that people can put onto cars. They're really easy to kind of just strap on there. And you have no idea when those little things might slip into your bag or slip onto underneath a bumper of your car or into your luggage. becoming a bigger issue when it comes to abusers in your life, and doing scans of your car as much as possible, or even checking your bags and things like that when it comes to these devices is the best thing you can do to keep you as safe as possible, especially if you start noticing that someone knows, or your abuser knows, where you are a little bit more. If it's not just your computer or your phone that they're tracking, I would start checking the car, as well as bags that you might have, or even if you do have kids, it might be with your kids as well, because obviously if they're going to be tracking you, they might be tracking your children as well, as a way to abuse you and maintain power and control in that way as well. And let's just finish off our episode by circling back to what we discussed right off the top, which is a thing that we hear most on our show, which is using your phone, using text to keep you in constant communication. Either they're doing it out of the guise of safety, or that they love you, and in a lot of ways they could be getting jealous, or they could be getting upset if you do not get back right away, and then you start to conform to what is happening. Maybe it is because you are fearing the rage that might happen, or you could be fearing the guilt that could be going on with things, that they might be home alone, or you could just think that this is a loving relationship and want to be part of the constant contact that is going on. And now, besides texting and besides phone calls, video starts to become a thing where safety might be, show me a video of where you are, who are you with, things like that. You might be all willing to share a tracker on your phone. You might be willing to share a device in your car out of the guise of safety as well. So these things are becoming more prevalent. They might want you to get a ring on your door or something like that under the guise of safety as well. A lot of these things could be brought in under this umbrella of safety on your end, but it's a way to keep track of you, and all these devices are a part of it. So it's just a big thing I want to just kind of finish off on, because that's going to be the predominant one you're going to hear within the relationship that's going to be going on. Obviously stalking and post-separation abuse and all those other things that we've mentioned today can happen. But this one right here is a dominant one, and is one that really starts to happen at the beginning of relationships as well. And it's something that everyone should pay attention to. And last, a little bit of information. If you really need help with all of this in the technology that you are using, and you want to know a little bit more, go to a place called techsafety.org. It is associated with the National Network to End Domestic Violence. They have something called the Safety Net Project, and I will put that in the show notes so you can do as much research on this as you want to. So this was our episode about abuse and technology. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope I didn't scare anyone by doing this episode, but I think the safer we are when it comes to the use of technology, the better. The smarter we are when it comes to the use of technology, the better. And sometimes these things are little small things that can happen by accident. And, even when it comes to this show, recently there was an incident where I was communicating with someone, and they didn't realize that when I made a when I made a appointment with them through Google Calendar, that when I sent that calendar invite, that email that they sent me was attached to a calendar that the other person had control of. So when I sent them that email, it went to their calendar, but it also went to their abuser's calendar. So that became an alert. Once the abuser told them, what is this show? It became an issue. And that is something where they saw something that kind of brought them out of the woodwork when they saw the name and they saw what the show was about. And that kind of brought them out there. But that was a really big thing. They didn't know that person had access to their calendar. They had their passwords, and knowing these things is a really big thing. So this was our episode on technology and abuse. I hope I didn't scare everyone with doing this episode. I just thought it was an important episode to do and for everyone to keep as safe as possible. And that's what we're just kind of trying to do. So, kind of check your passwords, keep your passwords, check your passwords, change your passwords as much as possible on all of your devices, and be as safe as you can using social media as well. I know it's not fair that you can't use these things freely without the thought process that my abuser might use these things to keep more power and control in this situation, but we just try to have to be as safe as possible here so they don't have that ability to really start monitoring everything that's going on in your life. And unfortunately, that is the reality that a lot of us are dealing with. So I want everyone just to be safe, and thank you for listening to this episode, and I just want everyone to be safe. And that is it for this episode. And if you want to be a guest on our Survivor Story episodes, please do go to our website at narcissistapocalypse.com. Top of the page, there's a button that says guest form. When you click on that button, it takes you to our guest form page. There you can read all of our instructions, and then either send us an email at narcissistapocalypse@gmail.com or fill out our guest form and press the submit button. Also, at our website, we have our very own support group. So if you need support and you want to be involved in our Zoom meetings on our support group, please do join our group today at narcissistapocalypse.com. Top of the page, you just click on that support group button. We have Zoom meetings every Wednesday night, every Thursday afternoon, every Saturday night. We have forum boards for you to post on, for you to get the validation that you need. You can get advice from survivors as well, and they're just there to champion you and cheer you on through your process and give you a hug and the support that you need during your whole entire process, no matter where you are in the process. If you're still in it, if you're trying to leave, if you're out of it and you're struggling, it's just a great group of people that are on there to help you along your way. So join our support group today. And if you need even more support, please do visit our friends at domesticshelters.org. There they have articles and resources to help you make sense of what you are dealing with. And they have every phone number, every email address, and web address for shelters and agencies. No matter how big or small your town is, domesticshelters.org has it there. So please do go visit them today. And that is it for today's show. So that is it for today's show. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I hope it was helpful and that I didn't scare you. And I hope you have a good night.